been hearing a lot of people talk at different events, and I think that a lot of what they say is fantastic. You know, they have a lot of things that they say about great ways to make money and great ways to, you know, to create different sources of income or be happy or whatever. But one thing I notice is that there seems to be two themes and two different types of seminars, and I feel like there's a third option, and very little people are approaching that. And there are some people talking about it, but it's very little. Like the first one is, if you just visualize it, it happens, okay? So there's this world where you just say, how it happens is you just visualize it, and then it happens. And then I've heard events where they say, that's BS, it's all action. And I've heard them say, it takes a ton of work. It's very challenging, and you have to work. And the reason I become successful is because I'm working, and I do the things, and I sit with the customer, and I go through this process, and I make the money. I believe there's a third option, and that's you can work, but it can be effortless. You can get yourself to associate euphoria to the creating. In other words, that feeling you have when you're at a restaurant or at a bar or whatever, and you're letting go. What if you let go while you're working? In other words, what if you're creating a company and you're making videos and you're enjoying the video? Like, there's so much forced work in so many things that we're selling. Whenever you're selling something, if your mind is on how do I get something from this customer, and you're making a video, let's say you're making a video for your company, and you're sitting here going, your mindset is at how do I make money? You immediately put yourself in a place of I need to get money from this person, which means I am not complete as is. Meaning like I have to get something from this person. So I'm not happy until I get it. So then you move from a place of not happiness. So these people make these videos and they're just coming from a car salesman manipulative place saying, do you want to make money? Here's the 8 steps to making money. And like there's this weird thing where they're not their content. Where they think they are their content, where they're literally like taking content out and going, I have to say this and say this. And they're straining while they do this. And they become not a person. They become a salesman. And there is an opportunity here to have fun because you have something that you actually are passionate about. And your goal isn't making money from the person. Your goal is to enjoy the process, have a connection with the person, and truly enjoy it and not have it with an outcome of trying to get something. And then the bizarre byproduct is you connect with the person so much that they will buy. But they aren't buying because you need them to. They're buying because you are truly a knowledgeable person about what you have to say. I can't believe how much manipulation we think we need to get our product out. If you have to manipulate, that means you don't believe in the product. You know, one of my favorite comedians all time, not just because he's a great comedian, not just because he's the best comedian out there, also because of the way he changed the format from how do I get to how do I let go. Louis C.K., this comedian Louis C.K., he threw away his old material, and then he started writing new material because he wasn't holding on to his old material. He wasn't going, this is the material that I use to sell. This isn't the material that I use to get all the money or make the crowd laugh. He said, I'm going to let go, and that forced him to find a deeper level of himself. It forced him to go, what's even better than that? He's not on Facebook that I can see, and he's not following anybody on Twitter. Now, the thing I hear most people say is, manage your list. Get a list of as many people as possible and stay there. If you're holding on to your list, your content cannot evolve because you're sitting here in fear going, how many people do I have? How do I maintain them? What things can I say to make sure that they come to me? All this stuff, right? So he lets go of that. He then lets go of, Twitter, all the stuff. Then he starts doing like every 3 to 5 months, he makes a new HBO special or Showtime, whatever the network was, puts out another special. At one point, he even stops doing it on the TV. He decides to have his own direct release on his own website, $5 download. And I don't know the exact numbers, but within a week, he made $1 million. Then, here's how much he let go. He took almost half of that money and gave it to charity. Then that was talked about the next day on, like late night shows and CNN and stuff like that, which made him sell many more things. But what I'm getting out of that is if you do the work on yourself, not how much can I get, not how do I maintain all these customers, not how do I maintain my list, your product will be so good that people just have to come to it because it's the best product. We are moving to a time, as my friend Michael Drew says, that it's not about the sizzle, it's about the steak. And we have to work on ourselves, and we gotta quit making these false shortcuts of how can I, because there's no long-term growth. If you don't have the greatest thing in the world to sell and you're sitting here just trying to get, you're not gonna be ready to keep it because you're trying to hold on to that person and you're gonna live as a slave to everything outside you. Our goal is to work on ourselves and allow the results to show up when they're supposed to. And that's why I really respect Louis C.K. and people that do the work. Those people just show it, it's obvious, and they become the best ones. And they're not the ones that have, manipulative sales tactics to upsell something or trick you into buying some merch of theirs. You'll just want to show up because it's natural for you. You don't need to be tricked into going. You don't need to be any of that. And I think that there's a level of effortlessness that shows up by you enjoying the process of working on yourself. That's the goal of life, in my opinion. And when you do that, the results will show up when they're supposed to. Instead, let go of the results. Have a little intention, let go of the results, and watch how quickly they show up when you let go of them. Because you're not trying to get them. Think of being on a date with someone and just not try to get them. Just be yourself. If you're trying to get them, you can't even talk right. You're like corn because you're sitting there incomplete across from them, trying to get them. Our job is to be ourselves and not think that something outside of us completes us. Once we get there, those things will show up. And trust me, I'm talking to myself. Every day, my advice is really to myself out loud. I just thought I'd capture it. I'm constantly learning from what I'm saying. And, but our job is to do that, in my opinion. Continually enjoy that. And then you're not stressing because you're not incomplete in your mind. You're not stressing, you're not going, damn, I didn't get that many people. You're not supposed to have that many people yet. You have more work to do on yourself, and they'll show up.